Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Inside Arvada. We are excited to have our guest Aislinn Droski on today. She is the city's bicycle and pedestrian coordinator, and she started with the city in February of this year, and prior to that, she has a background in urban planning. She's done that in her home state of Michigan, in Georgia, and then locally in Colorado. In May of 2024, she also earned her master's degree in urban and regional planning from CU Denver. She is passionate about working alongside peers and community to make more connected and vibrant places, something she will tell us more about here shortly. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Sean. Hey Sean, how's it going?
Good. Great interview with Aislinn. I really appreciated this topic. I think it's one that a lot of people are interested in, especially because you just see these shared scooters throughout the city and maybe not quite know what's going on with them and how the city's involved. And so Aislinn did a great job of explaining the pilot program as well as the future of it. And as well as one insight that I really didn't know was the data that we get from those users of those shared scooters and e-bikes. We can use that data for planning non-motorized transportation throughout the city outside of this program, which I never considered. So that was an interesting insight.
Hi Aislinn, welcome to Inside Arvada. Thanks so much for joining us today. So just to kick us off, tell us what's one of your favorite things about your job?
Yeah, so my favorite part of my job, I think, is getting the opportunity to make someone's day easier. I haven't owned a car for 5 years, so I commute by bike every day. And so getting to even just put in a little project here or there that I know is going to make someone's commute or, a fun ride or walk or whatever easier makes me really happy.
That's awesome. That's amazing that you bike everywhere.
Yeah,
You're
great
meant,
answer. I didn't
meant
this
for this
heat,
position.
It's a little
Yeah,
much,
fair.
but I still really love it, yeah.
Yeah, the mornings are cool, but then the afternoons can be a little rough this
Yep.
time of year. So more
Big
power
time.
to you. Tell us a little bit more about the rest of your job and what you do for the city.
Yeah, so I started with the city back in February. Before that, I was doing some federal transportation planning work. But as of right now, on my day-to-day, it's sort of a collaborative role. I work a lot with traffic and pavement and other folks in the infrastructure department to try to make sure we're enhancing our network of paths, trails, side paths, sidewalks, basically anything you might walk, bike, roll on. And then the other big thing I'm trying to do is just increasing awareness and availability of transportation options. So I also manage our Micromobility program through that, and that's a way that we increase the availability of transportation options for folks, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's a great segue and why we wanted to have you on now. You just had an update to City Council not too long ago. So tell us a little bit more about what is micromobility, weird word, and what is the city's program around micromobility look like?
So micromobility is kind of a buzzword. It's a little bit in the transportation planning field, but it kind of has come into the popular, more public sphere lately. But essentially it just refers to any device that you're using for kind of shorter, personal, whatever kind of trip you want to make. So these are devices like e-scooters, e-bikes, sometimes even skateboards are considered micromobility, and things like that. And they're used for a kind of shorter trip with a start point, end point, and typically you can get that device close to your end point, and that's one of the big appeals of a micromobility device. And we have a shared micromobility program in Arvada, which is really exciting. So you can have personal devices, or you can participate in a shared program, typically use an app like Lime or Bird to rent the device and to use it for a short period of time.
And in our program right now, we have Lime as our vendor.
We do, yes.
And then we have just scooters, but Lime also has some bikes and e-bikes and stuff, right?
Yes. So Lime right now in the Denver region offers the scooters, which you'll probably see a lot of in Arvada. We do put those out on the streets every day. But then we also have these new gliders. They're kind of a seated scooter. They were just put out in Denver, so you might see them around.
Yeah, I just saw one like last week.
Yes,
yeah.
They've actually become really popular because it's a really nice, accessible version of a micromobility device. It's a little more comfortable, it's a little more seated, and you don't have to pedal like you do with the e-bike. But Lime does also offer an e-bike. Those also sometimes end up in the Arvada market. The reason being just that we have that connection between Denver and Arvada, so folks can ride them between the two. But right now we just offer e-scooters at the moment, and you can rent any vehicle if it's here, but those are the ones that we put out in the mornings. And then, we have Lime as our vendor right now. We can have up to 2. There's been some interest expressed from other vendors, but we work on a permit basis, and right now we just have 1 permitted vendor. So that's who's been working for us.
Yeah, I know you see the scooters kind of all around town, and for some people who've never been on one, it can be a little intimidating. But speaking from personal experience, it's really not that hard. You download the app, you pick up one of the scooters, it provides pretty easy instruction from there. You scan it, and it'll sync up your card. And so don't be intimidated if you want to try one. Go for it. Download the app. But so if someone does get on one of those devices and wants to use one, what are some tips about where can they use them, and what are some other safety tips that we'd like to provide?
Yeah, it's really important to know where it's good to use a scooter, because obviously we don't want folks to feel uncomfortable or like they're boxed in on a scooter device. And of course, because they're shared, you don't always, though we encourage you to wear a helmet, there's not always a helmet available with the shared scooter. So in total, we usually recommend that if it's available, you use a bike lane facility. All the micromobility devices are allowed on bike lane facilities. We also allow them on our trails and any wide shared use paths or sidewalks that are very wide that are intended for multiple users. So those are also allowed there. We do recommend a 15 mile per hour speed limit there on all of our trails. That's the rules. The devices do go up to 20. But we try to make sure that people are following the rules there as well. And then the other recommendation is to make sure to really be, careful when you're around other users. Obviously, you're going to be sharing a space with people. And if you're in a bike lane, typically you're not going to be interacting with pedestrians as much. Sometimes there's runners in bike lanes too, so always good to keep an eye out. But each of the Lime scooters and the gliders and bikes all come with a little bell, so you can always make sure to alert people when you're riding by and things like that.
Yeah, using that common courtesy of our trail etiquette of like when you're in those busier parts of the trails in the city, just, give people a heads up that you're passing them. Don't get too antsy and try and blow past a family walking on the trail or something like that. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the program's been around a little while now, since 2021. I think we first put out scooters. And then I think I mentioned at the beginning, you gave a council update. So how's the program been going? What's new now? What are we kind of seeing around town? Yeah,
so it started, like you mentioned, in 2021 as a pilot. It was a way for council to see if they worked. I think the original intention of the program was, like I said, to offer transportation options, but also to get folks closer to transit. We obviously have the G line and we have some good bus lines, and these devices can be really good for getting people from their house to a bus stop when they ordinarily would be a little too far to walk. And so in the first part of the program, we were seeing kind of low ridership, actually. We weren't seeing a huge uptick of the program, but I think as recognition has grown, as the reliability of devices out on the streets have grown, we have seen a tremendous uptick in ridership. So we have over 130,000 total trips right now. And so a trip is counted on the devices as the time when a person picks up the device, rides it, and stops. So if they take another trip after that, that would still count as 2 trips, even if it was right after one another. But we still have a really great amount of growth in the program, which has been really exciting to see. And then the other big thing that we've seen is that folks are using them for lots of different reasons. So we survey riders to see why they're using them, and we're seeing that not only are they using them for fun, but they're using them to get to grocery stores, to transit. We're seeing a lot more trips end at our transit stops and stations, and it's really fulfilling the original intentions and goals of the program, which has just been really exciting to see that we're offering this to folks and getting them out of their cars potentially and giving them more options to get around.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see the heat map that you put out about people kind of going to, if you think of like Ralston and between Kipling and Grandview, kind of, there's Walmart and King Soopers and all of those things there that the program kind of expanded over into that area. And it was clearly there was a need there to help get people maybe from the Old Town G line stop to those types of services or things.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one. I did want to ask too about parking because we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
And I know that's one that kind of concerns people when we
For
are
sure.
going to some of these like busier areas, Old Town or a shopping district. What should people know about parking? Are we seeing issues around that?
Yeah, so I think we'll never see no issues around parking,
Sure.
especially with a program that is so dependent on individual folks making decisions about where to park a vehicle. But I will say Lime does have some preventive measures in place that helps a device be parked correctly. So what's required and what we ask of riders and of Lime is that devices are not parked where they are blocking the sidewalk. And that they are parked in any sort of, they're sometimes called amenity zones. It's kind of that space between the sidewalk and the street, if there is some. As we know, sometimes sidewalks in Arvada are like 3 feet wide, and so we don't always have that. In some of our higher pedestrian areas, we do. We have some around Old Town for sure, but we don't always have that, and so if that's not the case, we do ask that it's parked either right up against the curb to try to make sure that it's not on the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk, or it is kind of right up against the sidewalk in the grass line right there too. And so when you park a device, Lime will ask you to take a picture of your scooter or your bike, and it will use an AI software to check if it is blocking the sidewalk. It's not a perfect technology, but I do think it's a really great way to at least try to prevent some of those, perpendicular scooter parking along the sidewalk, and it will not let them end the ride if it is parked incorrectly. So that's one way that we try to prevent it, and then we do receive requests. Right now we receive anywhere from no requests to pick up a scooter to maybe maximum of 4 or 5. And so folks can call us or use Ask Arvada, and we'll get in contact with the vendor, and they have a 4-hour time limit to go pick up the device, which they've never exceeded. They're usually much faster. It's like 2 hours or so. And so we have a dedicated person who comes, they'll pick up the device and they'll move it and it'll get out of the way. So it's been pretty seamless, and like I said, it doesn't always it doesn't mean that we're not going to have an issue right then, right there when someone's trying to get by, but we do our best to make sure that it's not a long-term issue with the parking.
Is that 4 or 5 issues a month, or how often?
Yeah, it's a month. So so far this month we haven't had any, and so there's some months where we don't get any requests. And I try to kind of walk around in some busy areas and check it. We have a live map as well where we can zoom in and see all of the devices active. So sometimes we can pinpoint when a vehicle's been there for a really long time, and we ask them to go get that as well. But yeah, I would say less than 5 a month we're receiving requests from community members to go pick up devices. So,
which is a super low rate considering how many rides you mentioned that people are using them for. So, it sounds like we got some really great data from the pilot program that we did, and now looking toward the future, what can the community expect from these micromobility devices in the program?
Yeah, we're learning a lot from the pilot program, and so when we went to council recently, council was really supportive of moving this into a more permanent program. It won't change really how we operate it at the moment. We're already sort of operating as if it were a permanent program. All of our vendors are permitted, and they are required to follow our rules and regulations, so that won't change too much, but what it just means is we get to move forward on some really cool enhancements to the program. So one thing, speaking of parking, that we're looking at is we are looking at expanding and implementing some parking corrals. So those are essentially, if you've ever been to downtown Denver, they have them. Sometimes it's just paint on the ground. Sometimes there's some plastic bollards, the vertical ones. We'll probably just do paint for now, I think, but we're looking at Old Town for the moment and trying to get a good amount of those in so that we can really encourage folks to use them. We'll also make sure that Lime puts their devices there in the morning so that it becomes a bit more of a reliable relationship between where there's parking and where they're being dropped off. So we're hoping that encourages people to, make sure that they're riding and getting to Old Town, but then they can just walk around or roll around Old Town themselves without the devices. So, and then we're also moving forward with potentially expanding the service area. So we have had really good success, and we've had a lot of asks from community members and riders to expand the service area. Right now, we're mostly in the eastern part of Arvada. We don't have any central or west Arvada service at the moment. And so we're really exploring what that might look like at the moment, and making sure that we're balancing keeping riders safe and not putting them on any roads that are, not at the point where they can handle any capacity from scooters or bikes or things like that. Anywhere we wouldn't encourage cyclists, we're probably not going to encourage micromobility riders, so I think that makes sense. But still looking at making sure that we're giving people more access to those commercial centers, to their homes from transit stations, bus stops, wherever they need to go. So that's been a really exciting improvement, is to be able to, move a little bit out of this pilot phase and see what we can do next.
Yeah, because if you pick up your phone and you look at and you have the app, you can see where all the devices are,
Yeah.
and then you can also see the map of where you can ride them. And I think it cuts off at like Kipling right now, or maybe not even that far.
I
west.
think
Yeah.
it might be Carr.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
yeah.
not, yeah.
So it's pretty tight in that eastern portion, and then we go out to like 64th and Ward a little bit. We've got a little sliver up to the west, and that was also to capture a commercial area. So I think at the moment, we definitely have an opportunity to give folks more access, which is nice. But it'd also be a challenge of making sure that we are being thoughtful about, we're not leaving devices cluttered anywhere in the new service area. So we just want to make sure we're prepared before we expand it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear about. Well, before we let you go, is there anything else? We've done a lot of kind of clearing up misconceptions, but is there anything else that you'd want to clear up, or other information about the program or other things that you do as a part of your role?
Yeah, I think also I'll just add to the connectivity piece. We're also looking to work with, I mentioned that we we do have a connection between Denver and Arvada, but it's really just like a little diagonal. It's not a big it's not a big overlap, and so we're really talking to some other municipalities around the region to make sure that we're not cutting folks off from access to things. And primarily we're going to focus on the G line for now, and making sure that we're getting people to the Wheat Ridge Ward Station, because that's right where our border cuts off in the south. So we're trying to get some more regional collaboration in our program as well. And then the other thing I would say is we're also planning to use a lot of this data is really critical. It shows us where we have riders, where normally we can't get, unless we go out there and count, we can't get cyclist or pedestrian counts as often. And so it's a really good tool for understanding where, if we've got people on e-scooters, we've probably got folks on bicycles, and we've probably got them walking and doing all sorts of things. So it helps us to direct our investments a little bit better, and to understand what routes are being used and could be improved. And that is a really great tool in making our network better. Right now we have some good bike facilities, but we need a better network, I would say. Yeah. I think we need the better connections between the two. And then lastly, I would just say, I think understanding that we're working on this program, and we are always open to feedback. I think people don't know that they're able to reach out to me directly and to our team through Ask Arvada, and they, see a scooter that's somewhere and they get frustrated and don't know what to do, right? And so I think that's one of the things I want to be clear about, is like, we're on it if you reach out to us. So one of the things we're going to try to do in the next year or so is how can we improve the availability and knowledge of the fact that you can reach out to us, and we'll get on it. And then also that we have a lot of personal devices around. So it's not just the Lime program, but overall, honestly, in the U.S. in total, personal scooters and e-bikes and things have gotten way more popular. So there's a lot of impacts from people using the shared program and people having their own devices, and it's all just about managing. And as you mentioned, a lot of it is courtesy too.
Yeah.
A lot of it is learning how to and making sure that people know how to be respectful in shared spaces.
Yep.
And that applies to our shared program and to people's personal devices. So I just wanted to put that out there that, yes, I know we have, there's always going to be
Yeah.
some issues with our shared program. But
Well, and it's relatively new, and the even
Yeah.
e-bikes and all of it is really really new for everybody in the grand scheme of
totally.
people's lives. I
Yeah.
guess, right? Like we're talking 5 years.
Oh,
that
yeah.
This is really
They,
even
like, just
been
came
around
on
in
the scene.
Denver. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe a little longer than that in Denver, but yeah, not even 5 years for Arvada. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
exciting
Growing
and
pains.
yeah, exactly, and just getting used to those how we share space better, and yeah, exciting to hear how this program has really sounds like been pretty successful for
Yeah.
our community and can continue to improve and help people out.
Yeah, we're excited.
Okay, well, I'm going to move us into trivia.
Okay.
Our new way of doing things here. I've come up with a set of 4 questions, 3 and then a bonus that I'll be really impressed if either of you can get it. And so the way we've decided to do this is if you know the answer, try and let the other person answer to give everybody to try and get the answer and then make Sean sound dumb like he made me sound
Oh.
trying to talk about trees.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'll just go for the first one.
Okay.
Where is Arvada's bicycle training course?
Oh, I do know
I
this
know
one.
this one too.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Head Start.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
correct.
bonus points for the address or cross streets maybe.
Oh, I'm like
It's by
at the
Costco.
Costco.
It is across from Costco. 51st in Allison or 51st in Yarrow.
I used to work for Jeffco, so that's probably why I know about that.
Okay.
And we are redesigning it.
Yeah.
So that's
and
very exciting.
Bicycle Colorado hosts Learn to Ride trainings there for both kids and
They do.
adults.
Yeah.
Pretty much April through October.
Yes.
So,
And that's all
well-
on their website, and it looks very fun.
yeah, and we have a
Anytime
link
soon.
to it. We can put the link in the show notes, but we have a link to it on our website too.
Nice.
What's the difference between a class 1, 2, and 3 e-bike?
I also know this. I think.
So I think the class 3 ones are the fastest ones, and those
Yeah.
have no governor on them. I don't know if there's no governor, but they go.
I don't know what a
too fa-
governor is.
Like they limit
cap the speed,
so you can go as
right?
fast as you
Yeah.
want on the class 3 ones, I think.
Oh,
Or I know you can go way faster than our speed limit of
Okay.
50 miles
She
per
probably
hour.
knows better
Yeah.
than what
I
I've
think-
Googled.
Class 1 and 2, I think, go up to 30.
20.
Oh, 20.
Yeah.
Okay. And then class 3 is above that.
28,
Yeah.
was the max.
Okay.
What I saw said it still had a max, but it was
Yeah.
28.
There's
So you
also
could
probably
almost go, you
an
know,
elusive class 4 that is.
Right.
probably yeah.
really
I
fast,
didn't
yeah.
look that up.
But it has to do with like the
Yeah.
motor when you're pedaling
Mm-hmm.
one of them, and then the other one's always on or something like that between the 1 and 2.
Yeah, I
maybe?
think so.
No.
Yeah, so 1 is pedal assist. It does pedal assist only, motor assist up to 20 miles an hour. Class 2 is the only one that has a throttle. So it's pedal assist with
Oh, okay.
a throttle
Yeah.
of some kind. It's kind of hard to even know what that really means, but
Well, if you're like,
Like a.
up a hill,
Yeah,
maybe
you
give
can,
it a
like,
little bit
hit
of-
them-
Yeah.
it can hit the
Yeah.
motor but not fully using it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And 20 miles an hour. And then 3 is pedal assist only, and then motor assist up to 28 miles an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you
I
go.
ride analog, so I'm like,
Is
that's
that what-
Impressive for that
Is
being
that
your
what they're
only
called now? Analog? Yeah.
analog bikes, regular old school
yeah,
bikes.
just me and my feet.
We're
That's
starting to
impressive
get
for that being your
outnumbered out
main
there,
mode
though.
of transit,
Yeah.
especially in Arvada.
Yeah, well, I take the train here from and then but
Okay.
I
Yeah.
walk it up the hills sometimes. Yeah.
I
There's some
live
nasty
somewhat
hills
up the
in
hill.
Arvada.
There
Yeah, there are. When was Arvada first awarded the designation of bicycle-friendly community?
Oh, I might not know this one.
It's, I don't
Oh,
know,
I think I do. Maybe.
like 25 years ago, I don't know, like 2005.
Close. No
I was gonna
cigar.
say 2007.
Oh, 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
Silver level since 2014 and redesignated this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of work goes into that
Yes.
designation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a feat for
Yeah.
sure.
Kelly did a lot of that work, and the survey was really impressive. It was. Yeah, I'm excited to do it in a couple years again.
Yeah, we'll do it all over again.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the tricky one.
Okay.
In what year did the city first begin investing in the bicycle trail network? And then the second part of that question is what trail was first developed as a part of that project?
Oh.
I have a rough idea. I don't know if you have a guess.
I have no guess.
Going back to our Park and Rec Month episode, there
thought
was a
you
big
might know
push
this.
for developing our park and trails in the 70s, like 1974 maybe.
That makes sense.
Ding.
All right.
That was it.
Yeah.
I was like, you might know this.
Yeah.
Just because you've
Wait a
been looking
I
into
did some
park.
research on the history of our parks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how we
Nice.
have such a robust system. And like in the mid 70s, there was
Yeah.
a lot of support for
Yeah.
building out. And I think we built like 15, 20 parks in
Like
1
all
year.
at once.
Yeah.
Dang. Wow. That was a big national
and then-
movement at the time too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There was some like public sentiment. Well, okay, guess the trail, and then I'll tell you all the context of it because I have it written down.
I'm gonna guess. I don't know. I'm gonna guess Van Bibber.
I'll go with Ralston Creek.
It was Ralston Creek.
I figured.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought it was
Yeah.
Ralston Creek, and then I was like, I'll go a different one.
Yeah,
for some
it's
reason.
like a little more south, like theoretically
Yeah,
a
I
little
was like,
more
I don't know.
developed. So in 1974, voters passed a $3.4 million bond measure to build new parks, start the network of bike and hiking trails, and then there were also some other amenities included in that $3.4 million, which is like laughable to us today.
Yeah.
To do all of this, they did indoor and outdoor pools and rec centers. So there was like some investment into Stenger. It didn't specify the pools didn't have names yet, so I'd imagine it was like Lake Arbor and stuff like that, but I don't know for sure. And so they budgeted $200,000 to trail construction. That also included bike lanes on
wish.
city streets, and it was the impetus for the Ralston Creek Trail. And then they got a grant from Jefferson County Open Space to acquire the land they needed and start building the trail.
Nice.
So I did my best to replicate Sean's good finding historical facts stuff.
So that was great. Good
Thanks,
job.
yeah.
I learned a lot. That was cool.
It's very interesting. We have a couple history books I think we've mentioned that the Arvada Historical Society has helped produce, and it's always fascinating to go back and read that some of the problems that we're facing now were also problems
Yeah.
50 to 100 years
Yep.
ago.
Yep. It sort of all cycles back, I think. Like,
Yeah.
and the solutions of the time also kind of work today for the most
Right.
part. Like,
Yeah.
they cost a lot more, like you
Right.
said, but
$3 million
they,
to
yeah,
fix
it was
everything.
like
Yeah.
200,000 for a trail. That'd be awesome.
I think that 3.4 was also all like the 32 parks or whatever.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is
just like,
That'd cover like,
like one
maybe a
park.
part.
yeah. Well, Aslan, thanks so much for coming on with
Thanks
us
for
today. We
having
appreciate
me.
it. As a reminder, we love to hear from our listeners. You can stay in touch with us by texting us at the link right there at the top of each episode's show notes or email us at podcast@arvada.org. We love feedback on what you're enjoying, what you'd like to hear more about, or any other episode ideas, or any questions you might have from the episode today. And for news and events going on right now, the Ralston Creek Improvements Project, which is near the Croak Canal near Westwoods Golf Course, kind of a section of the trail that's tucked back in there in the golf course, is nearly complete. And so once finally complete, we'll post about it online and let folks know. The trail is reopened. It's been closed since February to get this flood resilience project done. And there are some really exciting improvements for the traveling public through there too. There's a pull-off area and a soft trail. And so looking forward to getting that open here soon. And then Resource Central has some late summer outdoor water conservation opportunities. And so new this year, kind of a small limited availability opportunity for public spaces. That might be a public space in your HOA, a local school or church or other community organization. You can apply for a demonstration garden where they will do a lawn removal for a section of non-functional turf, grass, and then provide garden-in-a-box materials to replace in that area. And so that the deadline to complete the project is September 30th, so quickly approaching, but encourage folks to take advantage of that if they can. There's also still the late summer garden-in-a-box kits available for your personal home, as well as the general lawn replacement program for your personal home.
Yeah, and as summer winds down, we have one of our final movies around town events of the summer. It's the People's Choice Movie Poll winner, which is yet to be determined at the time of this recording, but we'll announce that on our webpage, arvadaco.gov/movies. The People's Choice movie is August 29th at Clear Creek Valley Park, and the movie will start around dusk when it gets dark out about 8:30. And with Labor Day coming up here shortly, we have a few seasonal closures on tap. The Ralston Central Splash Pad will close for the season after Labor Day, Monday, September 1st. And then the Old Town Fountain there in Old Town will switch to Sundays only after Labor Day through September. So keep the fountain running during the farmers market on Sundays in September. And then after that, into October, it'll be closed for good until the spring. Thanks again to our guest today, Aislinn Droski. Be sure to catch our next episode featuring the Fire Marshal, Stephen Parker with the Arvada Fire Protection District. Today's podcast was recorded and edited by Arvada Media Services. And I will reiterate Aislinn's fun fact of the episode. It's that over 130,000 rides have been taken on shared micromobility devices in Arvada since the program began in 2021.
Whoa.